and congratulations. You've obtained the lucrative job of Scout for the Class 9-6 spacecraft Icarus.
At first glance, Strafe looks as if it's resting on the laurels of old-school, hyper-fast, gory first-person shooters like Doom and Quake. But working within these confines and throwing in the roguelike structure, Strafe emerges as a uniquely thrilling shooter with plenty of charm in its own right. It teeters between being mindlessly fun and cautiously strategic to the backdrop of a perfectly executed electronic soundtrack. The game nails its core gameplay loop: blast foes and scavenge to survive the next fight. The pace at which you dash, jump, and strafe makes you nimble, and each fight is a violent dance that only ends once the last enemy is downed. Though you choose a primary weapon to start a run, kiosks are scattered throughout the game for free randomized upgrades, some more effective than others. Additional weapons are scattered through the world, which are single-use and vary in effectiveness. While a rocket launcher or a plasma rifle work well for hardened foes, a short-range needle gun or sonic blaster aren't particularly useful in most situations. It's also disappointing that for a game that revolves around shooting, most of the guns lack impact. The machine gun and railgun feel downright piddly. Mutated humans, turrets, spiders, and acid-tossing foes populate the world, and require you to think fast and adapt to these threats. One misstep could spell disaster for your run, since damage comes swift. Forgetting to check your flanks or watch your back, or being too close to an explosive projectile can be your undoing. Like all rogue-style games, critical mistakes deep into a run are incredibly dejecting. But by the same token, it's what creates tension as you go further along. But it also induces a level of repetition that isn't always inviting. Strafe features two currencies: scrap for armor and ammo, and money for items at shops. You're never given too much of either, so part of survival is spending these wisely. While the onus is on you to figure out the best use case scenario for these items and upgrades, many of these elements aren't always abundantly clear. The more you experiment with Strafe, the more Easter eggs and secrets begin to reveal themselves. Jump into the first level without choosing a gun, and a wrench will be your primary weapon. Play the Wolfenstein 3D clone arcade machine, and upgrades are spit out. One particular highlight was finding the super hot shotgun. The game itself turns into super hot, where only time moves as you move, up until it runs out of ammo. Easter eggs like this instill the desire to find more secrets and go beyond simply finishing the final level. Though the start and tail end of each level remains the same, large portions are procedurally generated, drawing from a handful of preset rooms rearranged in sequence and orientation. While this keeps you guessing to an extent with each run, familiarity starts to creep in. If there's a fault here, it's that Strafe fails to introduce truly unexpected challenges. Thankfully, the game's redeeming qualities are enough to keep you hooked. And one of the strongest hooks is the soundtrack. Sometimes you get the urge to hop into the game just to listen to these songs, as if you ordered music with a side of gameplay. Level 3-2 is a dark and frightening place with the music to match. The blaring synth melody over a catchy rhythm coalesce with an up-tempo beat and industrial percussions that make the song grimy and horrifying and inspiring all at the same time. Level 2-1 is your first encounter with open air to relieve the claustrophobia of the first levels. As you mow down new enemies, a sense of wonder, excitement, and desperation is instilled by the infectious electronic rock track that you can't stop humming or get out of your head. Moments of chaos are bookended by the tranquil and ethereal tracks in each exit room and shop. The music never loses its grip, and it never disappoints, and it becomes part of Strafe's personality, adding a significant layer of enjoyment. Though the first levels of Icarus feel pulled straight out of the original Doom with its tight corridors and dim lighting, you begin to see subsequent levels open up and tie together. The lo-fi retro aesthetic is colorful and clean, which makes for both silly and terrifying enemies that splatter excessive gore and literally paint the town red. Any semblance of story is told through the environment alone, and it's one of the aspects that make the game alluring. It makes for quirky and varied set pieces for frantic shooting, and it's enough to lead you along to the satisfying conclusion. However, the game isn't without its technical issues. Enemies occasionally shoot at you through walls or glitch out and zip across a room and either be gone entirely or sneak up behind you to cause unnecessary damage. Later levels had a few inexplicable frame drops. Thankfully, these issues are rare enough as to not entirely ruin an otherwise refined experience. As unforgiving, repetitive, and frustrating as it can be, the urge to jump back into the game and take out that frustration on the hordes of enemies to the tune of the most proper soundtrack with a toy box of guns is hard to resist. Strafe wears its influences on its sleeve, but stands out on its own as a fun, intense, and fast-paced shooter with distinguishable charisma.
Wow, we've never seen results this impressive before. You're more than ready to travel to the edge of the galaxy.